Hi everyone, my name is Jan. I'm one of the digital ambassadors, and today the topic is going to be about the housing situation here. And first of all, congratulations to everyone who got admitted to KI. And as I said, today's topic is going to be housing, and therefore some of my fellow digital ambassadors and other students are going to join me today and talk about their specific housing situations and how well they got into the accommodation, how the rental situation is, and this is going to be like a conversation format, but nonetheless, you can ask questions in the comments if you have anything regarding housing, and we will try to answer them to our best ability and capability. And yeah, and first of all, I think Henry is going to join us. Henry is an exchange student, actually, and he lives in KI Housing. I'm going to put him live. Hi, Henry. Can you hear me?
Hey, hello. What's up, people? Yes. So, hello, I'm Henry. I'm an exchange student from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. I'm doing an orthopedics clinical rotation here at Karolinska. So now, before I show you the common area, why not I show you my bedroom first? It's the most exciting part, right? So first, look at the balcony. See, we have the cushions provided, and you can enjoy a nice afternoon looking outside, just sitting there and chill. And next is the table. Yeah, it's where you get the most work done, and a lot of magic can happen here. But you know where is the place where the most magic happens? Is the bed. So let me show you this really nice, beautiful, comfortable bed. You see how comfortable he's lying. So this is how comfortable the bed is. I even purchased my own pillow at IKEA. So if you want it, just feel free to drop a message and I can sell it to you. Okay, next is the wardrobe. Here. Okay, let's look at the wardrobe. Yeah, so I'm very minimalistic. So you can see nothing much here. Now, why not I show you around the common area? Okay. Thank you. So here is our common pantry. It's where we cook and it's where we have fun. Okay. And there are a lot of equipments here. And the most exciting part about this is that it comes with a dishwasher. So, and this is our almighty dishwasher. And I'm the almighty dishwasher number 2. Okay. This is our table. And you can see in the back, there's a couch where you can sit on the sofa and then play a guitar. You can enjoy a lunch here with live music. Isn't that great? So let me know in the comment section whether you have any questions. Just feel free to let me know, and I'm going to answer them for you. Okay.
Cool. Thank you, Henry, for showing. So you live with 3 others, right? It's like a 4-bedroom shared apartment.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, and then where's the whole KI housing? I believe it, like, because I know, right? It's on campus, but I mean, you can maybe like describe a bit more, like.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So this is KI Residence Solna, and it is just around 10-minute walk from here to the KI University Hospital. I bought my own bike here too, so I cycle, and it's like just 3 minutes, and I'm there. So I highly recommend you guys go buy a bike. Just cycling around the Hager Garden, by the river, by the lake is really cool. Okay, and okay, so let's look at the comments. Any other questions?
Not yet. So yeah, if anyone has a question, so feel free to kind of post them, and we try to answer them.
Yes, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the KI Student Blog YouTube channel, the KI Housing channel. Right, you see my roommate's cooking dinner for me. Really sweet.
So,
sweet guy.
Henry, like most of the students are maybe not exchange students. Can you maybe just briefly describe like how the whole housing process was for you, like getting the housing? Who did you contact, or like how smooth the process was, or how complicated it might be?
Okay, so it's not complicated if you know the right website. So I just type like KI housing, and then you can find the ways to do an application. It's quite simple. You just need to register an account there, or you can log in with Google. And then originally I applied, but like after I think 90 days or so, and they declined my application. So then I applied again. Yeah. So I'm not a person who gives up that fast. Okay. So I applied again and I got in. So I'm really grateful for this experience and for me to meet my three very nice, very sweet roommates.
That's great to hear. You know, like I think we have met Emily in the background as well. Like she is also from or lives in KI Housing. I'm just gonna put her live as well. Hi, Emily.
Hello, my name is Emily. I'm the digital ambassador for the Global Health International Masters Program. Just to introduce myself.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Henry. I think the both of you live in KI Housing, and probably you two know best how like kind of like the student life is right now at KI Housing. How would you describe it? Maybe Henry first.
Okay. I think the life here is quite amazing because like in Stockholm, the weather can be cold to some people, but for me, it just feels like very comfortable. I like this weather a lot. And I like cycling to school and then back. And yeah, I like the freedom they give to us during my clinical rotations here. And also, like if you guys have any questions on finding an internship here, just feel free to drop a message too, and I can share with you privately.
And Emily, how's it for you?
Yeah, it's really good. I've really enjoyed living in KI residences. It's really nice. As an international master student, you're guaranteed to get housing with the KI residences, and that can be in Solna or can be in one of the other locations. I've loved it. The apartment is really nice. Depending on the kind of apartment you choose as well. I also live in a 4-person apartment. It can be really fun. There's 3 buildings. The middle building is very social. Then there's one building with 4-person apartments. I have amazing roommates, so I've had a great time. But yeah, I mean, depending on your level of preference, there's always, and there's usually people in the atriums of the buildings playing table tennis, playing table football, things like that. So yeah, they're really nice places to live.
Yeah, I think for a lot of students right now, it's also kind of like a stressful situation to find housing, and due to like current rule changes, right, with European students not be able or eligible for KI housing anymore. Do you know like who in the end is still eligible? Because Emily, I mean, you are kind of European, right?
Yeah, so because the UK sadly left the EU, I got as an international student, which did work out for me because I didn't want to find an apartment in Stockholm. But it's pretty much, anyone outside of the EU. So one of my roommates is from Ukraine, one from Canada, one from the US. There's also people from India, from Bangladesh, from China. So really anywhere outside of Europe, you're still eligible to apply. And then if you're an international master's student, as far as I know for my year, and I think it'll be the same for this year, you're guaranteed, if you want it, a place in KI residences, as long as, because I know some people will apply using a European citizenship. If you've done that, you're not eligible. But if you've applied using like New Zealand citizenship, for example, you will be eligible.
I see. But then you have to pay the student fees, right?
Yeah. So I mean,
pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys know like how much rent you pay? Because I have a question here, like from I'm gonna butcher the name, CPKI Tong, K Tong, like 800 SEK. Like, how much rent do you guys pay? Is that within that kind of bracket?
I think it's more like, I would say maybe 6,000 SEK a month. So that's about 600 USD per month. I'm not quite sure what time frame. Maybe that's per week that they were thinking of. So this, and there are some KI residences that are cheaper. So KI Residences Solna, I think, is the most expensive one. And then within that, there's the studio apartment would be the most expensive, and then the 4-person apartment is the least expensive.
I see.
But that includes utilities and like electricity, heating, which in Sweden is really good because you need heating basically a whole year round. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I see that I was mistaken. That was the chat question for the bike for Henry. But nonetheless, thank you for the answer on the rental. We have another question from Juan Nguyen Kak and asking, how long does it take for the KI Housing to reply to your application? You guys still remember?
Yeah. I think I can take that question. So as I mentioned, I've applied 2 times. So please don't give up if you failed. If you don't get a contract, don't get a response on your first try, and because they will like let you know, and you can always apply again. So I applied again, and then after some time, it's like 2 to 3 months. And then I got accepted the housing place. So just please do not give up. Nothing is impossible. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think for Emily, like you just applied once, like and then you got it because you said like it's guaranteed for you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would check the website, the KI website, but it was certainly the case, I think, has been for my year and previous years. So I don't think it's changing.
Yeah. Like, I think this is still applicable. This is the website, like, where you can find information and also find the portal to apply, the KI Housing one. And as far as I know, like, if you have, if you need more concrete information, like the price of the rents, and also what kind of accommodation is available, they have like the most like, up-to-date information, and definitely check them out. And especially if you're eligible for that, I think that's the best option. Because I remember, like 2 years ago, we were all eligible for that. So even as a European, we were applying for that, and it was a really good time because basically everyone kind of was living there, and then like it was very surreal. It felt really like you're just among students. It was a really easy way of starting your studies. So definitely a good address to go to. All right, guys, do you have anything to add or like information for the upcoming students?
Yeah, no, I think that's it. So if you have anything, just feel free to let me know in the comment section. Just
and we as the digital ambassadors too have written blogs on the KI Student Blogs website, and there's a lot of blogs about housing. So if you're wondering about any kind of housing, you can usually search from there and find some.
Yeah, the student team is really supportive, so please don't hesitate to reach out. So
all right, I think we should move on. Thank you guys for joining. And see you, Henry, and Emily, I'll catch you later. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
All right, so that was kind of like our little first start on KI Housing, and next we're going to move on to housing from SSSB, and to talk about this in more detail, because I don't live in SSSB, but the next person does. Maya will be joining me. Hi, Maya. You have to turn on your mic.
Hi.
Hi, Maya.
Yeah, so my name is Maya. I'm good. I'm a second-year master's student of bioentrepreneurship, so in the same class as Jan. And maybe I should show you around my room first. Shall I do that?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so I live in a corridor room. I have to switch my camera, so I'm going to be off for 2 seconds.
Right.
Switching. Yep. All right. And we have switched. So this is my room. Maybe I can start from outside. So I live in a corridor room. This is the corridor, the very last door. And when you enter, this is what you see. You've got like huge cupboards here. And on this side, you've got the bathroom. So you have your own bathroom. If I continue, this is just my room. You've got a desk here, bookshelf, some other space in the corner. And then on this side, you've got the bed. Yep, there's not really much more to the room than this, but it's a nice big space. This is the view. You can sort of tell from the architecture of the houses that you're sort of in the city center. On your right here, you have the Haga Park. And so if you walk like 35 minutes in that direction, you get to KI, or you can bike, that's 10 minutes. Or if you go on this side, then you are like 20 minutes by foot at KTH. Yeah, so it's kind of a nice, central, convenient location.
KTH
Maybe I
being
can.
the technical university. Just for clarification.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
I can also show you the bathroom, what you get. So, I mean, you get a toilet and you get a shower. Very, classic, a little thing to put your stuff in. Yeah, you also have this to dry your clothes if you like. You can put it down, you can put it back up. Yeah, I feel like that's more or less it. Should I show the kitchen, the common kitchen?
Like if you have Wi-Fi and you can walk that far, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I share my kitchen with 14 people. So, all these people. Yep, quite a few. I'm the last door, so I have to walk quite a bit. Oh, hi, Nicholas. So this is the kitchen. It's quite big. I'm going to actually switch on the lights. Here you've got 2 stoves, classic, and a balcony. So, yeah, kind of nice. 2 microwaves. In terms of your storage, we each have 1 big cupboard like this, and then a set of drawers. And when it comes to the fridge, we also have 1 set of, I don't know, and 1 drawer here as well. And that's pretty much it. Okay, Nicholas, you want to say bye? Bye-bye. And that's it.
Cool.
That's
Thank you
essentially the
for
room.
showing. Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm switching my camera again.
Right. Yeah.
That was it.
Perfect. Thank you for showing. I mean, SSSB is not necessarily like a name for everyone, I guess, and some might not even have looked at it. So could you maybe explain a bit more, like who they are and how do you apply for housing there and how the system works there?
So SSSB is essentially Stockholm Student Housing Association company. I'm not sure what to call it. And the way that that works, it's like kind of like a bidding system. So if you're a student in Stockholm, you can register on their website and you can collect days. And these number of days you collect is essentially what you're bidding with. So you want the most amount of days in order to be able to get a room. Before you are actually studying, you can actually already register now, and you can collect up to 90 days in advance. And I highly recommend you do it because 90 days is a pretty big number. So that could be, make it or break it to get a room. And then, but you do need to park it. If you don't, then you're going to lose it all. So, not over 90 days. And then once you are a student and you are a student union member, because you need to be a student union member, then you can continue to collect these days. And then you have a bunch of free rooms and you can apply to them and you will see who has the most amount of days. And you obviously want to be the one with the most, because the one with the most is the one that actually gets handed the contract.
Yeah, cool. I think there's a question regarding the days. Like one, Ed Browers is asking, like, how many days room?
I feel like for my room, it was probably like 300-ish days. So
it's hard to apply as first year.
I think straight on the bat, yes, it's going to be very difficult to do that. And mine is also on the lower end because it was a corridor room. So I would probably say you have to live somewhere else first for the first year, and then you have a good chance of moving in. But to be fair, some people did manage to get rooms with like 100 days, which is what, 3 months, or if even. I mean, it's you never know. It's a bidding system, so, but it's unlikely. Wouldn't rely on it.
Yeah. I see. And how much is rent, like roundabout, in a corridor room?
Around about 4,000. I mean, this is for a corridor room. So corridor room where I'm sharing the kitchen, it's 4,000 SEK, which is 350 euros, which I think is pretty decent.
Yeah, I see. We have another question from Valentin. I think it's more regarding KI Housing, but I mean, I know that we were neighbors in KI Housing, right? So you might be able also to answer it. So Valentin basically asks, like, if there's a way, even if there are room available, to apply as a European. I mean, I guess with a Uruguayan and German passport. Do you know how the situation is right now?
For SSSB or for KI Housing?
Oh no, for KI Housing, I guess. Yeah.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I can take that one, because I know that they are very strict on the rules right now, and also depending on with which passport you basically apply for the program itself, it kind of determines your origin basically. And KI Housing is a substitute of or is within KI, right? So they operate on the same kind of in the same system. So yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, like if you're a European, there's really no way, because to my knowledge, the rules is not on a university level, but rather like a national level, that you can't have accommodation for European students. It's debatable whether it makes sense, but at least those are the kind of like the rules that we have to kind of adhere to here. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna hide the current comment. All right, Maya, like talking back to the topic of SSSB, like I know that SSSB is like available for any kind of students, right? It's not just KI. Like, so what kind of students live? Who are your neighbors basically, and do you have a lot of interactions with them? And what is like the student life, so to say?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to depend on every corridor because, you know, I mean, it can be drastically different. But since there are, you know, it's not KI housing, it's student housing for Stockholm. There are people from all the universities in Stockholm, essentially, around here. So my neighbors are people from SSE, Stockholm School of Economics, for example. KTH is a big one because we're not far from it. Stockholm University is also a big one because we're just 5 minutes by foot from Stockholm University. So that's also a major one. There are exchange students as well who come here. And on my floor, I would say we are all majority from Europe, but we do have someone from China and someone from Indonesia. But then the rest are all European. Yeah, and it's quite nice. I mean, in our corridor, it's really up to what you do with what, I mean, you have people, it's up to you whether you want to create a community or not. On our corridor, we have corridor dinners, which we plan, and like we have like that whiteboard, and we just write it down, and then we have that. We try to do it at least once a month. It's not always easy. We've had a paint night, we've had a German night, etc. So I would say my floor is quite cozy.
All right. It's great to hear that it's cozy, but I think Johanna has a valid question here as well. Like, she's asking about the cleanliness, and especially in the shared kitchen situation with 14 people.
Yeah, it's something you can't control.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, of course, we have a sheet where, you know, it's like every week one room is assigned to clean the kitchen, or to not clean it, because I mean, the general rule is that you clean after yourself. But, you know, things like the bins, for example, I mean, you know, someone has to do it. And so we share that every week. It's someone different. We are 14 rooms. So, you know, it's like I have to do it once every 14 weeks. It's not that bad. But in terms of just things getting dirty, yeah, like I said, it's not something you can control. You just emphasize that, you clean after yourself. And I think in my corridor, it's okay. Generally, the surfaces are clear. We don't have like masses building up in the sink or something. So, but that's not something I can guarantee. I mean, it's a bit of a game of luck.
Yeah, I guess so. Like there's no one to control that, right? So it really depends. Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a lot of questions. Let me see in the chat. So did you find your first house on the private housing market? If yes, how? I guess we kind of touched on this really briefly. So both of us were actually living in KI housing, and I was very fortunate because back then the rules didn't change, and both of us like are in KI as Europeans. So we were fortunate enough to be able to stay on campus for a whole year, and which is different this year. And touching on this topic, actually, thank you, Maya, for joining. And in order to kind of elaborate on the topic of how do Europeans now find housing, I also invited someone, Dimitrina, to join us. So thank you, Maya, for joining, and I'm gonna put her on.
Thank you.
Right. See you, Maya. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
And before I put Dimitrina on, the questions you guys have on SSSB are going to be answered because we are going to put Naomi on later on, and she is also living in SSSB in a different, accommodation, different area. And we can definitely talk more about how the situation is at SSSB. So without further ado, hi, Dimitrina.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Stockholm School of Economics right now.
I see. Yeah.
Hey everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. I guess why I wanted to talk to you, why I invited you, is actually because none of us experienced or were fortunate enough not to experience to have to find housing, private housing, as a European from the get-go, right? So you had to do that last year. So I thought it would be good to kind of, you share your experience, and maybe people who kind of are anxious about this can ask a few questions, and then we can also then, just try to answer them together.
No, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, it's a very stressful, but it doesn't have to be with the right techniques, I would say. I'll try to be as useful as possible with the time restriction, but happy to ask questions afterwards. But to start, well, I guess that'll be the first challenge as a bar entrepreneur, is to secure your spot, especially European. Because for me, it was more of a business development approach. If I'm to be honest, I had to go through websites like Casa. Casa is really good to find your private accommodation, and from there just contact a lot of people and try to come up with a message that underlines why you're here. In Karolinska, it's always very welcome. People almost like they have agreed on letting your apartment by knowing that you're a student at Karolinska, and then explaining your situation and how long you want to stay, and kind of be explicit about that. It's really helpful. So for me, it was the messaging that was very important, and it is a little bit of a numbers game, so you get to contact a lot of people. But Casa for me was preferred website because they have in their contracting they have insurance, I think insurance and lawyers, so everything is it's much easier as a newcomer, as a European, never lived in Sweden, not to deal with any of those issues.
I see. Like you just used Casa, I guess. Then do you know any like other platforms that you use or like are helpful?
I think it was called Samstrud.
I mean, you can just exactly. You can also just maybe put some in the comments later on. But I think one challenge also, like I can imagine, is because I mean you're not here, right? You won't be able to look at the apartments. Do you have like maybe some tips for the people how to go about that?
Remotely view the flats
Exactly, like most people won't be able to view the apartments. Yeah.
Yes, there is a level of leap of faith, but most people were quite kind and helpful on the Casa platform. They were running around the flat with the videos. We've requested videos so we can kind of look at it in our own time. So I would say don't rely just on photos. Just ask for remote reviewing, and that would be great.
Yeah.
And I think for that, I would say if you end up living with other people, one note which I wish knew before was to be able to know really if you're living with who you're living with. If you're sharing a flat with somebody else or you're renting, pairing up, which I would strongly suggest pairing up with other students that are at the moment they're looking, because that will sort of cut half the process and the stress.
I see.
And
Yeah.
I think that'll be that I would have done that if I would go back.
I see. Yeah. I think Maria has a really interesting question. Is regarding timing. So when do you recommend to start looking for private housing? Is it expected to be renting out private housing months before the program starts? So how did you experience that?
I think I've started looking around, gathering like the websites and the available renters around July, I think June or July. July is easiest to rent out because you're not competing with a lot of people, because most students wants to rent from August, but at the same time most students don't go to the private housing, so maybe that's not the case. I personally managed to negotiate to start with the first day of school and the end of August. So if you can do that, that would be great for you. However, yeah, I think I start 2 months in advance, but just messaging people, because messaging people and getting to know the areas, I think just picking the right area is half job done, and the contract signing takes probably 5 minutes. The payment also, so that's not a problem. So I would say like you have to put it in June just to be safe, but July it's okay.
Yeah. I think like you can also start too early, because I mean there are no offers if you're too early, right? So yeah, and
that is possible.
right, yeah. And when we were looking for housing, I saw a few scams on the websites.
Yes.
So do you have any information on that? Yeah.
If they want to press you to sign too quickly without showing you around, giving you too information, I had list of questions to ask at the time. So yes, nobody would. I would say no to that one. There were a lot more scammers on Facebook groups. That's why Casa was the preferred one. But yeah, watch out. There are a lot of them, but more often than not, they're obvious, I would say. I see.
Yeah.
Not really tricky ones, but when it comes to yes, of course, if somebody offers you a contract outside of the platform, outside of Casa, I'll be suspicious about that. So just only sign on the platform, not outside. Maybe afterwards, when you get more acquainted with people and contracts, maybe that's when you can take it outside of the platform.
I see. Yeah. So it's kind of like common sense to kind of look at the postings, I guess, right? So, and also don't pay before you see anything, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only
it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny. We were there were ridiculously cheap offers, sometimes online, and they were in those fancy two towers that are close to KI, the super fancy apartment, super cheap, and that was just so obvious. And we actually, what we did is we just contacted that person just to see what the process is of scamming people, and they immediately ask for money, basically. They want some kind of insurance. So it's, I think, quite obvious to and also quite easily avoidable.
Yeah, if it's too good to be true, probably it is. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So how do you live right now, and how much rent do you pay?
Right. So I moved around several times due to personal circumstances. I would say for the private market, ideally you would go for around 6,500, maybe SEK, 7,000. It's kind of challenging. I wouldn't go above that if it's shared, and around 10,000 maybe for studio flat, and that's currently what I can understand in terms of the pricing. At the moment, I am moving around, so for me, I probably am not the best example. What I did is I had the private for 7 or 8,000, and then went for now Airbnb for 2 months, and then I'll be looking for flats again. So it is an ongoing challenge if you're a traveler like me.
I see. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Dimitrina. I know you have a course right now, like in 2 minutes, so I don't want to hold you up for any longer. If there's any question, or maybe before you go, can you just post like a few names of websites that you think are like useful for the students, and then they can just check it out. And I'll just put you in the background, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I see there's a question from Maria, depending rental periods. So, I mean, I also live in a private apartment right now, and it really depends. So you have, for me, like my kind of experience is that most offers that you see are kind of capped to like half a year or a year. But then I would say like a third of the offers don't have like a cap deadline. So you can just stay there until something changes in your situation. And so the rental periods really are not that crazy, like crazily short. Yeah. So, but we're gonna move on or move back to SSSB, and therefore I'm gonna put Naomi on. Hi, Naomi. Thank you for patiently waiting. Naomi?
Yes.
Can you maybe just, introduce yourself first, and then we can just really dive in?
Yes. So my name is Naomi Thomas. I'm a second year master's student in biomedicine at KI, and I'm from India. I'm also a digital ambassador here at KI, and I'm a blogger. And I'm also taking part in last seminar. So if you see me everywhere, it's probably because you do. And currently I'm living in Pax at SSSB. So my flat is very similar to Maya's, in case you did actually see. I don't think it's useful. An apartment would be the same.
Fair, yeah. I mean, you said like the layout and so on of the apartments are basically the same, but obviously it's at a different location. Can you just maybe like give some information on that?
Yes, so from what I could gauge from Maya's apartment, she lives in Pax 5, or I could also be wrong about that, but I live in Pax 1. I don't think either way. I live in Pax 1, and Pax 1, Pax 3, and Pax 5 are the 3 different housing buildings that are located in the general area. That is Emilunsvägen, if you really want to go into the Swedish level. Pax 1 and Pax 3 are connected by a corridor, and the rooms are all basically the same. I think the price points are a bit different. So where I live in Solna, so that would be closer to the KI's campus on Solna. It is about 20 minutes by a direct bus if you want to go to campus Solna. And for the campus Flemingberg, you can either go to campus Solna and take a shuttle bus, or a more convenient option is public transport. So you can take the metro to the central station and then a commuter train from.
I see. And I mean, Pax is very popular, right, among like KI students, I guess. So, like, apart from that, like, what students live in Pax, or is it KI?
Pax is actually a part of KI Housing as well, and it is part of SSSB. Yeah. So there are students who live in Pax as part of KI Housing, and as it's been said before, multiple times, those are international fee-paying bachelor's or master's students. But most of the rooms, or PAX 1 and PAX 5 are rooms. So the most of the rooms in PAX 1 and PAX 5 are actually taken up by students who are studying in all kinds of universities in Stockholm. So there's KI, there's people in my corridor who are in Stockholm University. There's people in my corridor who are also in KTH. Yes, I think that's of the students who live in student housing. That's a very international set of people who live here. So I'm Indian. There are people in my corridor who speak. There are people who are Chinese, American, Spanish, Nigerian, you name it. There's a lot of diversity in the corridors.
I see. I think there's a bit of like interference with the sound. I don't know whether like the microphone or like the speaker.
My phone's microphone. I'm so sorry.
Never mind. No worries. Then we just continue. It's fine. There was a question from someone. No, I lost it. Regarding application for SSSB, like do you have to be from Mohammed? Do you have to be in Sweden or already registered at a university to apply for SSSB?
So how SSSB works is that it first and foremost checks if you're part of a student union at any kind of university in Stockholm. So you don't need to be in Sweden in order to be registered at SSSB, but you definitely need to be admitted to a university in Stockholm, and more importantly, be a part of the student union. So you can, like Maya also explained, there is a queue-based system. So you basically just register into the website and you start collecting queue days, which the number of days that you have been on that website or the number of queue days you have. And you can collect up to 90 days without having registered with a student union. And then you can park your place in the queue, or you can pause your queue. You get to keep those 90 days. As long as you remember to pause it, or all that work and what did it get me. Pause that, and then you have to register with the student union, and they do regular thorough checks of the student union database to check if you are an active student, so that you get to keep your SSSB apartment.
I see. And there's another interesting question from Maria. I guess she is or thinking about moving in with a partner, and is that possible at SSB?
I'm not quite sure if you are, because a corridor room essentially at max is 17 to 18 meters square. So if you have that kind of metric visibility in your head, that's a very small room for two people. But there are also apartments and family-sized room where it is perfectly fine for you to choose your own co-tenant and bring them. But I'm not sure if it would be convenient or allowed to have a second person come in with you in a corridor. But I would highly suggest contacting SSSB in case SSSB or KI Housing.
Actually, yeah, in that regard, like last year we were looking, and there are some apartments actually where you have to be two people in order to be even eligible for them at SSSB, because they are like owner apartments, a bit bigger, and there you have to be two people in order to apply. And so yes, to answer your question, Maria, definitely there are apartments for people with a partner coming, and that person doesn't have to be a student. So it's more that you apply with your waiting days at SSSB. And, as I remember, like maybe it has changed, but I think probably still the same, that the 90 days you can just sign on without any affiliation.
Yeah.
At all. Of course, it does make sense if I'm coming here, but you can just do that basically already today, or as soon as possible. Yeah. Cool. Let's see. There's so many questions. There are many questions. I'm gonna pick one.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to mute the mic for a quick second because
thanks.
quite a bit of disturb you here. And
I muted you. So Mohammed has a question. Sorry about that. Mohammed has a question about KI housing, I guess. So when is the right time to pay your rent at KI? And if you are a fee-paying student and starting on September, considering your KI housing application being successful? Naomi, did you live in KI housing before to the PAC side? Yeah. Right.
Sorry about that. Yes, I was a part of KI. For my first year since. Sorry.
No worries. So I was just like, how does the rental payment system works?
Okay, so as far as I remember, they give you a deadline that you have to pay your rent by, and I think it was, for me, if I remember correctly, I think it was the literal day before I was supposed to move in. That was the last day to pay my rent. So they will give you all the dates and all the deadlines, all the links, all the information that you might need, as long as you're on top of your emails, because I do know it gets very overwhelming as a new student at KI because you're bombarded by emails from everyone and anyone who's anyone at KI. But it is very important to keep on top of the emails, especially ones from KI Housing if you're applying for housing. I would say, just to sort of give yourself the peace of mind, when you remember to pay the fee, and if you're able to, pay it as soon as possible, because then that would be one thing that is done and one less thing that you have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think payment of rents in general can be very easy and automated once you're here and have everything in place. At least a personal number, right? So that is everything. So you can basically ID yourself online, and then also it's very convenient to have a bank account with a bank ID, and then you can just basically choose whether you're proactively paying the fees, or the rent, or you just get deducted from using AutoGiro. Yeah, right. So I don't think you have to worry about that too much, but rather just catch the message in the email.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stay on top of your emails, and there are multiple ways that you can pay your rent. There's bank transfer. You can pay it by a credit card or a debit card, or if you happen to be lucky enough to have a Swedish bank account, or anyone has a Swedish bank account, you can just directly pay as well. So they give you those options as well. Just pick the one that is most convenient for you. I used to pay my my rent by an international debit card, and that was always very hassle-free once I got the hang of it.
Perfect. Right. All right. Naomi, do you have anything else to add? Maybe some tips for looking at apartments and what you can share.
For me, as an international student, I didn't have to really worry about anything in my first year because I was living at KI Housing and I was in Strix. Though around the end of spring semester, I would say that's when everyone is sort of moving out of KI Housing and into mostly SSSB if they can do it. That's why I would like to reiterate, start collecting your Q days as soon as possible. And KI Student Union is Medicinska Föreningen, or MF for short. If Jan can somehow find and write it in the chat, that'd be great. Register with them. There's a fee that you have to pay. Once you do that, you can start collecting your Q days. And when you decide you want to move out of KI Housing, you can just keep checking, especially corridor rooms. By the time you are moving out, and if you've been collecting Q days early on itself, by that time, you would have enough Q days to find a corridor room wherever you want. So I would say stay on top of that. First and foremost, other than that, just enjoy your time in Sweden and KI.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to quickly post the website of the student union. Yeah, there you go. I think everyone kind of signed up for that mainly because of SSSB queuing days, right? So definitely something to check out. But I guess they also offer more stuff, of course. But I remember in our year, the people who got personal housing, they didn't sign up because that was definitely the biggest plus of being a member, right? So that's still a
There's
choice.
discounts here and there. By being a part of a student union, you get access to a website or an app that is known as Mecenat, and Stockholm or Sweden in general is very big on student discounts. You get student discounts on public transport, usually any other kinds of transport, clothing. Mecenat is basically your under one roof, that's where you'll find all the discounts, student discounts that you're eligible for. And that's when, and I think it would be wise financially if you're using Stockholm's public transport, you get the student discounted public transport pass. And it just so happens that every so often people validate your tickets while you're on the public transport. And if they see you have a student discount, they will ask you for the card or the student ID. That's the ID that MF gives you, and that is also on the Mecenat app. So keep that on hand. Otherwise, it's a hefty fine.
Yeah, thanks for that tip. That happened not to me, unfortunately, but to a lot of classmates. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Naomi, time is moving on, and we still have one more person who will be joining us. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you around. And good luck with the thesis.
Bye.
Bye. All right, last but not least, we have Teresa joining us. I'm going to put her on. Hi, Teresa.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, sorry that you had to wait so long.
Yeah, no problem.
How are you? Maybe introduce yourself, and then we can dive in.
Yeah, so my name is Teresa. I am living in a private housing in Lilleholmen, which is in the south of Stockholm, but still within the city. I'm in the second year of the master's program, and I'm now writing my thesis. And I'm European, so also in the first year, I didn't have to really worry about housing because the rules were different. But yes, now I am in private housing. I don't know if you'd like me to show around or...
Yeah, I mean, actually, why not? Because I think a lot of people will be living in private housing. And for me, private housing here is very distinct. And also to know what you can get in on the private market is kind of interesting as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to swap my camera, but I'll just I'll figure it out.
You can just show.
Yeah. All right. So, I have a 4-bedroom apartment. I have 3 flatmates that were my friends last year. And they're still my friends now, obviously. So we were friends last year. So we decided to try and find a house for us. So this is essentially the entry. And then we have 2 bathrooms, which we share. This is the first one, and then it goes straight on to the second one, which is kind of weird, but I mean, we figure it out. Wait,
the toilet is in between?
So there's...
Hey, Teresa, you cut off. Teresa, your voice is kind of cut off right now. Teresa, we can't hear you. Well, sorry about that, guys. We have a bit of mic issues with Teresa, but she'll be back on, hopefully. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat regarding housing. I'm going to put it back on.
Hi. Sorry for all the
Hi.
technical difficulties.
No worries. I mean, we're live,
Yeah.
right? So we have to, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just explaining that in this house, the family that lives here, they were moving away for a year, and so they wanted someone to rent it for a year only, and so we got a good price on that. But we still have, this is the room of a 9-year-old boy, so we still have some little remains of family life here, which is it's cute. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. And how did you find the housing? Like through what website? And
I found my house through Centric. So I started looking in Blocket, where you usually have all the offers for like many other companies. And then from then we found this house and we went to Centric, where we handled all the contracts as well.
I see. And was it hard for you guys to find housing, like on the private market, or like,
I mean, when you look for a house for 4 people, it's a little bit more challenging. But we were actually quite lucky. This was the 3rd house that we went to see physically. So, I mean, I think overall it was not really that hard, but there's definitely less offer if you're 4 and want 4 separate bedrooms.
Yeah, I see. And do you have any like tips, like when people are looking for housing on the private market, what to watch out for, kind of like what price range people should look at, and maybe even like what area, these kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a general rule, whichever neighborhood is kind of touched by the T-Bana should be fine. I think one thing regarding student life that I think it's really important to take into account is, if you can, find a house within the T-Bana that is before the line splits, because at night there are much less trains, and so if you are after the line splits, it takes you a long time to get home. So it's something that I would do as a tip. And also when reaching out to people, I think the KI is a big like plus. Like once you say that you're a student at KI, it has a really good reputation here, so immediately they want you as a tenant, even if you're a student, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And T-Bana is the metro, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Like yeah, like it's quite like well connected in Stockholm, and but I think like in terms of transport, like on a private market, definitely look something that is at least on the metro lines. So and also starting next year, like Karolinska is going to be on the metro line as well, right? So or so they say.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. Yeah. So it will be definitely more convenient to commute as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And, all right. I see there's no new questions. I hope like we touched upon stuff and answered a few and could like help you guys out a bit. And if you have any more questions, I guess you can reach us through mail, the KI mail address. We have our blogs, the DAs that are blogging. And also, like you can always just comment in the YouTube channel as well, and we'll reach out and answer your question. To our best knowledge. And of course, in the end, the most important information is on the official websites. We are giving more like kind of like our subjective views of how to do that. And Teresa, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't think so. Just good luck with finding housing, and it will be fine. Everyone finds housing eventually, so don't worry about it. Just follow the tips and it will work out.
Yeah. All right. Then we've been an hour in, so thank you guys for tuning in, and good luck and congratulations again on getting in. And I'll catch you, Teresa. Good luck with the pieces.
Yeah, thank you.
See you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.